Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Well, it did it again, didn't it? Well, that's okay. That just means that just a little something extra to look out for. All right. The important thing is that we're here. All right. I don't know why. When I did the reboot of the computer, I'm sorry, when I did the upgrade, the update to the what do you call it? The iOS. That's when it started. So it's just one of those things. They always have little bugs that they need to work out. So no worries. Hey, Elaine Parker, thank you so much for being with us tonight. And also, I thank your bladder for making sure that you're with us tonight. Uh, Let me see who was here first. Judy Matassi, thank you so much for being here first. Okay, Sonia Johnson. Uh, Lady Rose is here. Carol Lunn. Joan Garcia. Big Mama's in the house. All right, very cool. Maurice Brown is here. Excellent. Let's get on with it, shall we? Oh, there we go. Okay, another recycled thumbnail. Does this one fit? Harry and Meghan's 2024 projects has the British tabloids in a panic. I think that works. I think it works. Elaine Parker, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Excellent. Now, let's get into it, shall we? Exciting news. Centabali is hosting Prince Harry as he returns to the Southern Africa for the landmark visit focusing on youth empowerment. Cheryl, let me, okay. Okay. Anyway, I didn't slip and say the first name. Anyway, thank you so much. I try not to say the names with the Cash Apps, but thank you so much for the Cash App. And also earlier today, someone sent a PayPal. And let me see while it's on my mind. So I won't forget to mention it later. Okay. All right. Anyway, thank you so much for the PayPal earlier. Oh, is this it? Nope, that's not it. Anyway, thank you so much for the PayPal. Yeah, skip for now. Oh, PayPal, stop doing this to me. PayPal is like constantly trying to market stuff to you now. You know the story. Oh, okay. I see RS. That's who sent me the PayPal earlier. It was RS. Thank you very much for the PayPal. And thank you, CAL, for the PayPal. All right. Okay. Very cool. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. It all helps to keep the lights on. Okay. Very cool. Oh, Beverly McCaskill wants to say hello to a few people. Beverly is a member. There's quite a few of y'all that are members. Khalil Similan, Joan Garcia, Lydia Washington. Hello. Thank you for being a member and a moderator. You and Elaine Parker. Very cool. All right. So they are getting all excited in South Africa and Lesotho for the visit of the Duke of Sussex. Still no word whether the Duchess of Sussex is going to attend this trip with Harry, but let the tabloids tell it. Okay, they're doing that again. They always look so stupid when they start all this stuff about Harry's trying to separate himself from Meghan in his work. The thing is, if Meghan had gone along, there would have been a whole nother narrative that would have been unpleasant. If Meghan stays home, there's also another narrative that is unpleasant. What we all know for certain is that they have two little ones that their parents love and adore, and they love and adore their parents, and they can't just take their kids everywhere. Those kids need a sense of place and home and such. So all of that makes no sense. The reason why I'm even talking about it is because I just want to remind you, don't let them get on your nerves with those narratives. Harry is coming off of this amazing trip to the United Nations General Assembly. Also, what is it? So it was General Assembly, which is when they traditionally have their climate week, right? When they have all of these people that they can network with. Harry's trip to New York was like a flawless concert performance. Everybody had a role, and he was there playing his part like no one else. And that's all there is to it. Harry definitely, at age 40, demonstrated his life's work. And he's still relatively a young man. And everything that he's involved with is only getting bigger. Sindabale, huge. Invictus, huge. Travelers, gigantic, right? And even with all of that, he is the publisher, the writer of, he's authored a book, Spare, the best-selling nonfiction in history. I mean, you can just go on and on and on. An Apache helicopter pilot. There's only a handful of people in the world that would have the ability. Not that they have not done it or whether they've done it is not the point, but not everybody has the focus and the concentration to make that machine work. Yes, got all kind of avionics and computer control, but when it comes down to it, you and your reflexes, your ability to focus and concentrate is what keeps that thing up in the air and makes it the awesome feat of technology that it is. Just ask Becky the Blob. She said so herself not long ago. Well, back in, 2013 or whatever it was, that glowing article about Harry, the amazing pilot. And it just goes on. And all of these honors and awards that he receives, it's because he has earned it. And that cult that gets so upset because nobody's paying attention to the rest of that clan. Oops, you know what? I'm going to have to put a jar on my desk. And every time I make the mistake of referring to that cult as a clan, actually, those are the two words those are the two words that I'm going to have to drop a dollar in that jar every time I accidentally call that family a cult or that clan. I'm going to have to put another dollar in the jar, like one of those jars for when people accidentally, swear or drop the F-bomb or something like that. Yeah, I'm going to have one every time that I make that terrible mistake. Oh, I feel so bad. You don't know. It keeps me up at night every time I do that. I can barely compose myself. I'm so angry with myself. Makes me want to go out and celebrate. Okay. So I was absolutely appalled today when I was in Edinburgh and to see Scottish shortbreads being sold with a picture of a foreign English king, this should not be tolerated. And I have written to the chef that is, of, oh, there's something called Police Scotland. I never heard of that. But yeah, this person was aghast. They walk into a retail situation, and suddenly there are the world famous Walker shortbreads with images of that family all over it. And this person was so upset, they were considering calling the
police! 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 Help! Police! Help! Police! Help! Help! Police! Help!
Yeah, bit of a drama mama, but one of the things that I made sure that I took time to do when I was in Scotland was to grab myself a box or two or several boxes of those Walker shortbreads, which I think I pretty much ate a box every day. That was my little snack for touring Scotland, was some Walker shortbreads. And plus, I felt like it was my duty. If I'm in Scotland, I have to buy Walker shortbreads, right? But yeah, so I did. And they were delicious, just as buttery as I could imagine them to be. Connie Balmer! Hey, Connie Balmer. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, to give you an idea of the reach that Harry has, I've never heard of this online magazine called 120 Finance, but it's a financial magazine. And why is Harry mentioned in this online finance? It's like everything you need to know about finance in 120 seconds, right? I don't know. But the point is, it gives you an idea of exactly how much reach the Duke of Sussex has when it comes to his profile on the global stage. Huge, absolutely huge. So, and what's cool is that every time one of the squaddies on social media find these images or articles and such, they are very sure to share them with the rest of us, which I appreciate. It says, an appointed address at this week's Clinton Global Initiative, Prince Harry underscored what he described as an epidemic of anxiety and depression in social isolation affecting today's youth. Challenges he attributed largely to the adverse online experience. Harry emphasized the addictive nature of social media and expressed concerns about the harmful content young users are continuously exposed to. He called for an ethical reevaluation of how social media platforms operate, advocating for greater corporate accountability and responsible parenting. Prince Harry also highlighted the Parents Network, an initiative launched by the Archwell Foundation in partnership with his wife, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, to support families affected by online harm. Additionally, he mentioned his foundation's collaboration with the World Health Organization to end violence against children, connecting to the Global Ministerial Conference on Ending Violence Against Children in Bogota this November. During the New York humanitarian event, Harry spoke to the Halo Trust gathering, reflecting on his mother, Princess Diana's legacy in Angola, and reaffirming his commitment to humanitarian causes. His call to action aims to empower families and challenge the tech industry status quo as addressing child safety in the digital world. Go ahead, Harry. Now that is what I call a global statesman. So Harry has not abandoned mental health and youth by leaving the official royal duties of a prince of the realm. He has only widened the scope of the ability to reach people who need to hear these things. He's made himself available. And anyway, with this article, there was no images of Harry. So I'm like, well, where's Harry? I don't know. But this is the image that they used. And good on Joe Biden for being the commander in chief of the selfies. That is so cool that the oldest president we've ever had is very adept when it comes to taking selfies. So yeah, this looks like, you know, the background colors looks like something from Archwell, but it certainly is not. So yeah, that's what I just shared right there. And to continue, I just wanted to show you what this online magazine looks like. As you can see, there's an article about JP Morgan CEO sounds alarm on geopolitical risk and the economic stability. There's something there for AutoZone faces inflation pressure. So they have various articles, and I almost subscribed, but I was like, nah, the last thing I need is another subscription. But good on them for featuring this article on the Duke of Sussex. Again, this is just an indication of the reach that Harry has had. It's kind of hard to gauge it because the very petty tabloid media is avoiding any mention of this incredible successful week that the Duke of Sussex has had. But do not be discouraged by that, because there are plenty, and I do mean plenty, of publications and online people that are spreading Harry's message. So there you go. And right there for young people. Well, anyway, this is from Fortune magazine. And again, there's another economic magazine. And maybe the big appeal of it is that it does involve the incredibly valuable companies like, you know, all of the social media giants. And it involves some very, very well-off companies that have the power and the ability to put in some safeguards for our children. So young people are kept young people are kept their minds. Okay, one more time. Yeah, mindless, endless, numbing, scrolling, being force-fed content that no child should be exposed to. Wait a minute. Do I have a soundbite for this one or no? Do I or don't I? I mean, actually, I think you can hear it in Harry's own words. Probably better off that way. As he demonstrated so much passion. Yes, yes, there we go. There we go. So,
Well, our platform provides opportunity for parents to turn their pain into purpose, ultimately changing the very system that stole their child. As the digital landscape has evolved, we've seen rising polarization, social unrest, and a disconnect that often manifests itself in violence and fear. Personal social connections have fallen secondary to alternative digital realities. These platforms are designed to create addiction. Young people are kept there by mindless, endless, numbing scrolling, being force-fed content that no child should ever be exposed to. This is not free will.
All things in moderation, right? All things in moderation. All right. So thank you so much. And thank you, Harry, for an extraordinary mission this week at the United Nations. Okay, so right here, thanks to Muriel, it says Harry has respect for the African continent. Oh, wait, I can barely see that. Let me see if I can find some. Oh, there we go. That's better. Is it? Yeah. Has respect for the African continent. The children of Lesotho see him as one of their own. They don't see him as an invader, a white prince coming from London just to show his face. He is one of us. Like they say, Meghan, one of us. Prince Seso of Lesotho on Prince Harry. So those are the words of the Prince Seso. Let's see here. And so right there in the Lee Journal, it says the children of Lesotho have been as honest with him, as open with him as humanly possible because they see him as one of their own, Seso said. They don't see him as an invader, an intruder, a white prince coming from London to Lesotho just to show his face. Prince Seso, this also is in, what is it, the Jersey Evening Post? Same thing. Prince Harry has been urged to bring his bride-to-be to Africa to see the work of his charity by his co-founder, Prince Seso. And that was back in, what, 2018 that article came out? Okay. And let's see what else we got here. Harry is one of us, says Prince Seso Lesotho. Okay, on the right, for us, Harry is one of us. He has taken a person who has African roots, again, cements our love for Harry and his respect for the African continent. Seso also praised his fellow prince for giving his energy, passion, and love for the children during visits. So there you go. And thank you again, Muriel, for digging out these headlines, which I've never seen before, but very, very cool. Receipts, receipts, receipts. We love receipts. Okay. Yeah, I know. Why bother? Should Prince Harry ask King Charles for permission before going on television? Really? And this goes for everybody in that family, including those Tyndalls. Do they ask permission? Right? How many people in that family are asking permission before they show up on television? It'd be the same as if I say, before you leak and brief against your child, did you ask permission? When mysteriously somebody leaked the location of the Sussexes, not once, but let's see, there was the place in the Cotswolds, leak. There was Canada, leak. There was Tyler Perry's house, leak. All of those were leaks. Did anybody ask Harry permission? I don't think so. Prince Harry appeared on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. But do you think he should ask the royal family for permission? Let me see. Who wrote that article? Natalie Crookham. Well, looks like they're living up to their very crooked name, Crookham. That's Old English for very shady, crooked individual. I Crookham. Yeah, that's how they would say it in ancient English. Crookham. I Crookham. Ye old Crookham. Well, Crookham, it's not their business what Harry does. Remember, he was told no half in, no half out, which means what? Go to hell. All right, next. Oh, lights, camera, Fergie. Does the wife of the king's brother ask permission before she goes out there and gets all of that money she's been making? I mean, look at there. I mean, it's a if anybody has demonstrated how valuable their titles can be, and even though she has divorced that vicious bowl of Jello, Andrew, the sick old man, she is still referred to as the Duchess of York. She'll always be the Duchess of York. As a matter of fact, Queen Elizabeth has made it possible that when the Duchess of York's time come, she will be buried in the royal burial ground. Yeah. So that is quite an honor for someone who is divorced from the family and someone who, because of their connection to the family, has done rather well over the years. So, I like Fergie. I don't have an end for her. I'm not just calling her out or anything like that, but I mean, I couldn't resist. I came up with that line myself. Lights, camera, Fergie, cha-ching. That usually equals money, and I do mean a lot of it. So, yeah, should Harry ask permission? Ooh, I don't think so. I mean, she's doing okay, right? Permission or not. Thank you so much for that, Adrian Burrow. Yeah, they're running low, aren't they? They are running on fumes now. They are barely able to make it down the road with all of that crap they got. I didn't know that you could I didn't know you could function on waste material, but apparently the tabloids are scraping the barrel trying to think of something to say. And it gets worse. Now, if you remember that creation from a Hanna-Barbera cartoon, Ingrid, is it Seward's? Anyway, Ingrid, who is disappointing on the best of occasions, sometimes she can actually manage to get worse. And what is it? Carol? Is it Carol? Carolus speaking? Am I saying that name right? Anyway, she had a thing or two to say about it with her flawless complexion, by the way. What a beautiful complexion. I mean, just smooth, very smooth, lovely. Anyway, Ingrid says Prince Harry had. Oh, anyway, let me play the soundbite for you. They spent their week or weekend, their week and their weekend, trying to downplay the momentum that we've seen really since Columbia, and even before that. But Columbia really seemed to upset the apple cart. And Ingrid, what a disappointment. What a disappointment. I don't expect much from her. But even though she has lowered the bar to such a great extent, she managed to go even lower.
Another saying that if you haven't made it by the time you're 40.
Okay, the sound is kind of low. Let me see if I can raise it a little bit. But she's saying if they say if you haven't made it by 40, let me start it over again.
Well, there's another saying that if you haven't made it by the time you're 40, you're never going to make it. But of course, that's not true. And I think that probably in the back of Harry's mind, he thinks, I've got to get on with it. I've got to really go for it now. I mean, he has the success of the Invictus Games, which we all know, but we can't really name anything else. Okay, cool.
Let me play that over for you again, because it's like, I know you hear it, right? I know you can hear it, but okay, I'll do it one more time.
Well, there's another sort of some saying that if you haven't made it by the time you're 40, you're never going to make it. But of course, that's not true. And I think that probably in the back of Harry's mind, he thinks, I've got to get on with it. I've got to really go for it now. I mean, he has the success of the Invictus Games, which we all know, but we can't really name anything else.
Okay, cool. Let's unpack it. Shall we? Harry spent 10 years in the military, fighting for his country. He then spent 10 years with Invictus, from conception to actualization to veteran participation. And not only veteran participation, countries from around the world actively bidding to host the Invictus Games. Additionally, if Vanity Fair is any indicator of how he is being viewed around the world, Harry has moved from a working royal to a global advocate. I almost feel like you mistakenly were meaning to talk about William, but you used Harry's name because, you guys are constantly using Harry's name. So it's an honest mistake. I think that's what happened here. And I say that because obviously 10 years old for Invictus, 4 years old for Earthshot, William's pet project. William left the military in 2013. That's over 10 years ago. Kind of begs the question, what's he been doing since 2013? Since, again, Earthshot's only 4. I kind of feel like you didn't think this one through, babe. You just didn't think this one through.
I love the way she ended that. She said, I kind of think you didn't think this one through, babe. You didn't think this one through. Here. That was awesome. Speaking of awesome, Judy Matassid, thank you so much for supporting Royal Sussex and even going the extra mile with a super sticker. Thank you. All right. Yeah, beautifully said. And it sums it up. I don't have anything to add to it. She just didn't think it through. They have been clamoring for a good hook. And it's really pathetic. It is so pathetic on their part to continuously target the Sussexes with this nonsense when they have a whole royal family that are doing so little and using one's children as an excuse, which William will definitely, if it came down to it, well, for those 6 years of nothingness, he was taking care of the future king and the siblings. I'm sorry to be the one to say this, but I have to. No excuses. Real working class people have done so much more, producing every level of society's future leaders, right? Every level, every type of profession. There are people that work at McDonald's and put their children through school. They uplift, support, feed, nurture their children without a staff of 62 people. And yes, there are people that struggle through cancer without a staff of 62 people. I always tell people my grandmother gave me my first set of wings. It was my grandmother who had had a mastectomy, who later died from the complications of her cancer, that took me and my cousin to Disney World, and a couple years later to Disneyland. Constantly under medical care all those years. I don't know where she found the ability. When she was bedridden, and my grandfather was so concerned, he said, you got to get out of that bed. You got to get out of that bed. He begged her. Without a team of 62 people, without the best and the brightest of medical care in the world, she managed to get herself out of bed and walk back and forth through the house from the front door to the back. Eventually, She went outside. And in no time, she was walking miles a day without the intervention of a staff of 62 people. William, who, as far as I know, is not suffering from some type of medical affliction, he does very little and does less because he can. How many times have they dubbed both of them lazy? You did not think it through, babe. You didn't. You didn't think it through. Or as they say in that heavy Cockney, think it through, love. Yeah, think it through, love. You got to think it through. You're not thinking it through, love. Oh, Hanna-Barbera. You know, I have watched many Hanna-Barbera cartoons, but their worst creation is still out there thriving, albeit having gone through some reassignment. I mean, it started off as a deputy sheriff and somehow has become one of the worst journalists in the world. But either way, we're stuck with it. We are stuck with it. See what I mean? There has been some type of transition. Maybe I just assumed that Deputy Dog was one thing and not the other. I don't know. But I mean, it doesn't take a lot of imagination to see what has happened here. They really think underestimated Prince Harry. I think they mean underestimating Prince Harry and his years of service. And I find it beyond laughable. It pains them to admit he's no longer that reckless royal, but a force that's not to be reckoned with. What a silly old troll, said some squatty. What a silly old troll. Yeah. Silly. Silly. Graham Smith says, so private, it's been being reported on a program with news in the title. I assume this will be billed as work. Yeah, this was a breaking news story. Breaking news. It's breaking news that Lazy Kate, lazy, whatever affliction she may have been through, I'm still going to say lazy. Lazy. It's just laziness. Because now we can do whatever we want to do. And we have a ready-made, built-in reason that we don't have to justify or verify to the public. I'm just calling it what it is. Like so many of you, I have been around cancer. Words don't make sense. Deeds are rare. Whatever is going on with this, I still say at the root of it is what it's always been: lazy. And that this coddled, this person who is being nurtured through their fragility by the news media, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Staff of 62 people. And they get the notion to go to a ballet. And as Graham Smith says, likely to be billed as work. And yet the public is fixated on someone who is not living off of public money. And as long as there's this fixation from the tabloid media, I refuse to look the other way. Lazy. Lazy. That's it. Now, royal return for Harry. Oh, God. Why? I know, but I'm going to do it anyway. Royal return for Harry. Every so often, somebody takes their words and throw it right back at them, and they look even more ridiculous than they already are. They sound more ridiculous.
I know that over the many years you worked for Prince Charles, you got to know both of the boys very well. And you're a bit fed up with the negative way that certainly we now in the media in Britain talk about Harry.
Yes, I think this is a problem. I mean, you've heard Richard saying, no, don't have them back. But what have they actually done that's been so awful that Britain can't let them come and go as they please? They've not actually done anything illegal. They've not done any sort of, they haven't bombed anybody. They've done nothing wrong. All they've done is be themselves. So Harry chose to marry Meghan. You know, everybody has an opinion, and completely everybody's entitled to that opinion, like them or loathe them. That's the opinion that people have. But they haven't been given a ban on not coming back to England. So if they want to come back to England, let them come back to England. If they don't want to come back to England, again, they don't need to. It is their lives, and that's what Harry was banging on about at the time. He just wanted to have his life. The royal family haven't said anything supposedly positive about about Harry. Likewise, why would they need to say anything positive the other way around? They're living their lives. They talk privately, presumably to each other. And, if Harry is coming back and wants to see his family, why should he be allowed?
As a matter of fact, no, they don't. I'm afraid the rift is so bad that there's a lot of speculation. We don't know whether they talk privately to each other. How would we? But there most certainly is not a conversation at the moment publicly between William and Harry. This was obvious at Lord Fellowes' memorial service. They were both at the back of the church, apparently, and reportedly didn't say a word to each other.
Reportedly, you don't know what they're doing or saying.
Well, I am saying that we're talking about, this is a debate about renegotiating Megxit, and if that was the case, in fact, what was arranged at the Sandringham Agreement would have to be looked at again, and that would mean that Sussexes would have their cake and eat it, so to speak, because they could do the commercial along with royal activities, and to have them at royal events, as I say. I mean, you would have an undignified circus, you would have a weird situation. And this is something that Meghan would want. She was desperately unhappy, unfortunately, when they were doing royal events and they were here. So Harry can come and go as he wants, fair enough. His relationship with the rest of the royal family, I mean, there's a deep rift, we know. We also know, and we all are aware, that King Charles and, of course, the Princess of Wales are fighting cancer. It's a dreadfully difficult time for the royal family. So let us hope that it could be some form of reconciliation. But we're not talking about renegotiating Megxit. I mean, that's just bizarre.
Okay. Like I said, they have weaponized cancer. And when the Queen was alive, when Philip was alive, they weaponized their ages, right? Remember that? Philip's in hospital and the Queen, what is that? Queen is 94 and Philip's in hospital. Queen is 95 and Philip died, right? They have weaponized cancer. It will be a blanketed protection for anyone who dares to question the royal family. That is the point that I'm making, is that they have weaponized it, and it's insulting to the working class, everyday person who does not have a team, an army of reporters to protect them from things like, I don't know, the landlord, the electric company, the water bill. They don't have anyone to protect them from that. There won't be a Richard Fitzwilliams that you see on the right side with the blue jacket. They won't have him there to defend them from the consequences of life. Nope. But Charles, who was accused of being racist, and Catherine, who was also accused of being racist, they have that blanketed protection now. You can't say anything. Well, I will, but really, we're not supposed to question anything. Let's see. Baby Sis Doll says, hi, Squatties. Duchess Meghan is the powerful woman in the UK, not living in the UK. Yeah, they speak her name more than they talk about anybody else in the royal family. They really do. They really do. They are so obsessed with what Meghan thinks, what Meghan does. Will she come? Will she go? Whatever it is. Has Meghan left the house today? They're obsessed. The Queen couldn't even have a dignified funeral for the sake of questioning what Harry and Meghan are doing. Thank you very much, baby sister. And one more. Let's see here. That man, the red tie, is a lion dog. Nobody with eyes sees Kate. With eyes sees Kate has a facelift. Yes, there seems to have been some adjustments made. And look, I get it. Nobody wants to age in front of the world. No woman, especially. Well, some women just don't care. They're going to be who they are. But for Kate, whose stock in trade is her appearance, she's not good at much else. She's not a good talker. She's not a critical thinker of our age. She's none of those things. But what she was good at was the big hair. And of course, her appearance has always been very important to her. And if you take that away, what are you left with? What are you left with? Well, you know what? Usually at this point, I would bring this up, but she didn't start off that good. So what are you left with? Yeah, there's been some changes made. Definitely. Something is different now. Thank you again, baby sister. And Joan Garcia says, haters ignore that Harry prayed for a wife and kids. Thank you very much, Joan Garcia. And that is the most disturbing thing, is that, okay, when I speak of the Royal Rota, these are people that have known Harry in some cases as long as he's been alive. They have had knowledge of him. They know of him, right? They know a lot of things that is important to him. And worse still, his brother and his father, the two people that should have been closest to him his entire life, knowing how much Harry loves children, loves the idea of family, loves monarchy. Harry is a monarchist. He loves service. He loves military life. He loves all these things. And yet his brother, it seems from Spare, his brother was trying to convince him that he would probably never marry and will never have that happiness that comes with it. That he shouldn't marry, that he should give it more time. You should wait 10 years like I did. Yeah, humiliate the woman that you love for 10 years. Like he humiliated his partner for 10 years, Wadey Katie. Which, of course, given Meghan's age, would mean that it would be so much more difficult to start a family in all likelihood. But that's what he was trying to convince Harry to risk. Risk your happiness, risk your future happiness, because it just makes sense. It only makes sense for William because during that period of time when William was not working, if I'm correct, didn't the Queen actually have Harry come back from the military to be in service of the family? So yeah, that was the attempt was to keep Harry trapped in misery, to discourage him from having the family that he has now. And when they speak of these things, as John Garcia said, he prayed for a wife and kids. He wanted that for himself. He wanted to be in royal service with his family, to be a part of this great platform that is available. And he wasn't looking at it as, oh, there's money involved. He was looking at it as the way he looks at life now. Look at all of the good that we can do in this world with this platform. Turns out he can do even better without that platform. He's got a platform of his own. So yeah, they constantly ignore the fact that, like so many people in this world, he wanted a family. He wanted all of the things that life has to offer, including a wife and children. And as the guy with the maroon jumper said, what have they done? How many times have you heard me say they have not put a foot wrong? And he gets it. He gets it. Let's listen to the first part of that again. They have not put a foot wrong at all.
I know that over the many years you worked for Prince Charles, you got to know both of the boys very well. And you're a bit fed up with the negative way that certainly we now in the media in Britain talk about Harry.
Yes, I think this is a problem. I mean, you've heard Richard saying, no, don't have them back. But what have they actually done that's been so awful that Britain can't let them come and go as they please? They've not actually done anything illegal. They've not done any sort of, they haven't bombed anybody. They've done nothing wrong. All they've done is be themselves. So Harry chose to marry Meghan. Everybody has an opinion, and completely everybody's entitled to that opinion. Like them or loathe them, that's the opinion that people have. But they haven't been given a ban on not coming back to England. So if they want to come back to England, let them come back to England. If they don't want to come back to England, again, they don't need to. It is their lives, and that's what Harry was banging on about at the time. He just wanted to have his life. The royal family haven't said anything supposedly positive about about Harry. Likewise, why would they need to say anything positive the other way around? They're living their lives. They talk privately, presumably to each other.
Okay. The thing about them talking privately, there's always a back channel. Always. There's always some way to get messages across. To what degree that they're speaking, I have no idea. But I've never really bought this idea of who speaks and who doesn't speak. If they were speaking, they would have to keep it from the tabloids. They would have to keep it from some of their courtiers. Harry and Meghan have been brutalized by that institution as they brutalized Princess Diana. The only thing that saves William from that same treatment, although he did receive a great deal of it thanks to Camilla. But the only thing that, actually Charles as well, the only thing that protects him now is that they're stuck with him. And they're stuck with that mediocre wife of his. Two of the laziest people that have ever drawn a breath, with no imagination, no sense of dignity. Those two people are the future. And this is why an aristocracy can never function as well as a, what is the word am I looking for? The other stocracy, meritocracy. Because they're not doing anything by merit. They're just there. Even within the family, there is no necessity to do anything better, because when they don't perform the least task, you will have someone like a Ingrid Seward or Seaweed, whatever her name is. You'd have somebody like that show up on television or on a podcast and defend you, to elevate you and make you seem as though you've actually done something well. William and this earth flop thing, there's nothing original about it. Nothing. The whole housing thing, nothing. And Kate with her early years and all of the children stuff, you can actually look at actual working charities and foundations where they almost have lifted every single word from their mission statement and made it their own. They dress like other people. The only thing that they can't do is talk like other people. If they could nail the talking part, they would really deceive people. But they can't even do that. William speaks rapidly like he's got a plane to catch. And Kate, well, we know how she talks. Ineffective. It's all smoke and mirror. And again, lazy. Okay, so Prince Harry had a reflex to protect Jimmy Fallon from danger. And that was very touching, though, that Harry wasn't trying to protect himself in that moment. His instincts was to create a block or restrain Jimmy Fallon, lest he should be hurt or injured or something like that. Always a soldier, always in service. Always. You know, Jobo. You got Jobo in the blue tie, and of course, that's Ken Wharfe. God help us all if we were depending on Ken Wharfe to protect us. I feel so bad. I really do. I'm not kidding when I say this. I feel really bad for Diana, knowing that this weasel of a person was supposed to be her protection. That's really sad. Very sad. And the reason why he's able to openly discuss these things is because he has permission, right? Wouldn't he be under some type of restraint from a non-disclosure or whatever? But no, he is free to go out there on the airways so long as he's trashing Harry and Meghan and Diana. I mean, since he wrote that book, he has gone from bad to worse. He has literally gone from bad to worse. I have so little respect for him. I have more respect for Jobo, Robert Jobson, than I have for Ken Wharfe. I really do. Robert Jobson, he plays the part, but every so often, a bit of humanity and good sense creeps out. seeps through those massive pores of his, a bit of common sense seeps out, which it makes me kind of lose respect for him as well, in that he's so much smarter than the role that he plays. But yet, just like the rest of them, he's obligated to say stupid, ridiculous things. But sometimes he lets slips a bit of common sense. Okay, let me get on to this one. And thank you to the squatty who posted this, because I couldn't sit through that show. If you value your mental health and well-being, I implore you, do not watch that show. You're not going to learn anything. Nobody there is there for Harry and Meghan. The only thing it's going to do is confound and frustrate you. I'm warning you. Avoid it. Avoid any of these shows that are causing you stress and harm. It's not worth it. It is not worth it, because it's only going to make you get a bad taste in your mouth. I couldn't sit through it. I couldn't sit through it. But the squatty that posted this, I trusted that person enough to know that there was some context there. That's why I say trusting someone to do this work is very important. Even if you don't understand it in that moment, instead of being angry and reactive, listen to what's being said. Watch what is being shared. Okay, let me do this.
Harry with his wife or his children. If that was a decision made, and it would have to be with the approval of the King and the Queen, be rest assured that the British government, in close concentration and with the Metropolitan Police, would make sure that they would receive together the right protection.
Exactly the point. That is why she's not travelling. No, it's not an end of story.
But it is. I just told you what it is.
No, but the fact is, he believes that when he brings his wife with him, she will not be afforded the protection that he feels is necessary.
That's what he believes. I'm not saying that.
But you're saying he's got to be put to the test. What? Leave her exposed. The reality is he doesn't believe that is what he's going to get, and that's why he's taking the court case.
All right. Let's see. The court case, I think, is going to roll and belong till next year.
So, again, sometimes Robert Jobson lets slips the reality of things. And as he said, whatever you're saying, Ken Wharfe, what Harry believes, that's what's important. And if Harry believes, a member of the family, a person who knows how these things work, someone who has the best legal representation possible and deep enough pockets to pay for it, if Harry believes that his wife will not receive the appropriate protection, as Jobo said, that's not the end of it. It's not case closed. That's not the end of it. Ken Wharfe was trying to put a little nice, neat, tidy bow on it and close down the conversation. No, it's not that simple. If Harry believes that there is a case to be made, if he believes that his wife and his children would not receive proper protection, who cares how much it costs? And that's that little weasel host over there. Oh, this is just going to go on and on. It's going to cost so much money. The whole institution costs money. And the reason why it's happening, the reason why it costs money is because when Harry offered to pay for his protection, you shouted that down. And when I say you, I mean the tabloid media. Oh, what does he think this is? You can't just hire the police services. Yes, you can. Charles hired them to protect that evil looking bag of bones that he's married to. Charles is paying for protection for his brother. What do you mean you can't just pay for it? Charles has paid for it twice. There's no truth to that. Just like the whole idea that royals don't guest edit magazines, they do when it's somebody besides Harry and Meghan. Royals don't just show up on television. They do when it's not Harry and Meghan. I'm going to play that again. I'm going to play it again.
Yeah, I think we would expect Harry with his wife or his children. If that was a decision made, it would have to be with the approval of the king and the queen. Be rest assured that the British government, in close concentration and with the Metropolitan Police, would make sure that they would receive together the right protection.
Exactly the point. That is why she's not travelling. No, it's not an end of story.
But it is. I just told you what it is.
No, but the fact is, he believes that when he brings his wife with him, she will not be afforded the protection that he feels is necessary.
That's what he believes. I'm not saying that.
But you're saying it's got to be put to the test. What? Leave her exposed. The reality is he doesn't believe that is what he's going to get, and that's why he's taking the court case.
All right. Look.
There you go. I tell you, when Jobo gets it right, he gets it right. It's too bad he's on the wrong side of history. But when he gets it right, he gets it right. Now, one of the squaddies did some detective work here. Who is she? Eva Omaghami, Charles's director of communication engagement, played a vital role throughout the coronation proceedings. Her involvement with Prince Charles began during his tenure as the Prince of Wales, where she worked closely with him at the palace's trust and Clarence House prior to her esteemed role. Omagami served as a civil servant with the Greater London Authority. Her unwavering commitment to community engagement and her exceptional skills have earned her a place of influence and importance in the royal circle. Omagami Nigerian background, combined with her dedication to serving that is the public, embodies the spirit of unity and inclusivity that was at the core of the coronation. So listen, I'll give you that. The coronation, as the actress from Bridgerton said, the coronation definitely showed inclusivity and representation. It did. It demonstrated that very well. It's when you get outside of it that you can't find it. And nothing more evident than the balcony on Coronation Day, where the only person of African descent and just by coincidence, Nigerian descent was pretty much banned from the balcony. Not that she wanted to come, but the thing is, everything that led up to the decision for Meghan to stay home pretty much was the act of banning her from the royal family. When they chased Harry and Meghan out of the country, that was the start of the ban. When they leaked and briefed and implied threats against the Sussexes, that was banning Meghan from the coronation. That was banning Meghan from the balcony. It didn't start with Spare. It didn't start with the Oprah interview. It started back in 2020. It started back in 2019. That's when Meghan was banned. They wanted her out of there. The only thing that, like the lady said earlier, you didn't think it through, love. They didn't think it through. They didn't think that Harry would just leave along with Meghan, but he did. Yeah, think it through, love. You got to think it through. If you're not thinking it through, you got to think it through, love. Yeah, think it through, love. Think it through. So, where I was going with this is that if you were wondering who that lady was that gave Harry that very, very warm embrace at the UN functions, that's who it was Eva. So, yeah, now you know. I was wondering who she was, but I had no clue. So, very sweet moment. Very sweet. And there she is receiving one of those honors from old sausage fingers himself. But yeah, so thank you to the squatty who has a private account that I don't want to say who it is, but thank you so much for sharing that with us. She also does some amazing detective work. And here is a cartoon that as you can see, there's the Queen behind the those screens that they have. You know how they have those screens. They have Demons of Colonialism. And of course, Charles is asking his mother for a little help hiding all of the skeletons of the past. And it all had to do with the appointment of this woman of Nigerian descent as the director of diversity. So very interesting cartoon. Now, a tattoo shop owner plays coy when asked about Prince Harry's visit. Owner Josh Lord was tight-lipped about the royals' visit out of respect for his privacy. Exactly. And of course, it was the Daily Fail that stuck a camera in his face, trying to get information out of him. But, you know, he's dealt with a lot of very prestigious, wealthy, famous, whatever you want to call it. So he was not, you know, giving up anything.
That you've tattooed. You said that you've tattooed a lot of celebrities. Can you compare what it would be like if he were here? I mean, how does he rank? I mean, I assume that you don't get starstruck. I mean, how's that different?
I absolutely understand the line of questioning, and I appreciate it. But of course, I could never actually say anything either way.
He said, I absolutely understand the line of questioning, but I cannot say anything either way. I'm not going to tell you it was good. I'm not going to tell you it was bad. I'm not telling you anything. So, again, go to hell. The shop owner, oh, there we go. Leg says the shop owner didn't even admit that Harry was there. Here. There you go. Good observation, Legs. He didn't even acknowledge that Harry was there or not. So, very cool. Okay. And one more sound bite. I got a bunch of them today. I think this will probably be the last one about this one. I hope so. But I just want you to hear this exchange about Boris Johnson. Bojo. Jobo and Bojo. Okay, let's do this. Didn't realize I had so many of these today.
Fascinating insight, isn't it? What more can you tell us about this intervention?
Good morning, Sean. Yes, absolutely fascinating this. The claims have been published in a memoir which is due to come out on the 10th of October, Mr. Johnson's memoir called Unleashed. And there are extracts which are published in the Mail today. Now, we understand that in January 2020, both Buckingham Palace and number 10 at Downing Street, spoke to Mr. Johnson and said he might be able to convince Prince Harry to stay in the UK rather than leaving his royal duties. Now, we understand that the meeting between Boris Johnson and Prince Harry took place at the Docklands in London at a UK Africa Investment Summit. And the former Prime Minister writes, there was a ridiculous business where they made me try to persuade Harry to stay, kind of manly pep talk, totally hopeless. Now, we know that this meeting took around 20 minutes and apparently there were no aides. This was in private. But the following day, Prince Harry did fly out to Canada to be with his wife, Meghan, and their son, Archie. And of course, the rest is history. Royal experts think that this happened following a fraught meeting between Prince Harry and his grandmother, the Queen, his father, Charles, and of course his older brother, William, at Sandringham.
This meeting, the Sandringham Summit, there was a lot of bad blood that Harry took away from that. And less than a week later, somebody tapped the Prime Minister on the shoulder and said, well, actually, look, could you please just try and see if you can rope Harry into staying? So whoever that was not only thought that it was a possibility, but cared so much about trying to get Harry and Meghan to stay in Britain that they were willing to potentially put the Prime Minister's reputation on the line.
Well,
okay, so what they're referring to, of course, is the Sandringham Summit. Sandringham House, one of the few properties that is owned outright by the sovereign. Boris Johnson was not asked by Buckingham Palace to try and persuade Prince Harry to stay in the UK, the Telegraph understands. So the Telegraph, obviously, there's been some brief from the palace. Tell them that that never happened. Boris Johnson, who is known to take license with the truth, says it did. And of course, we all know that when it comes to the House of Windsor, you can't trust anything coming from that side of the family. So I think it did happen. I think it was a last-ditch desperation. I don't believe it came from the Queen. I believe it probably came from William or Charles or both. It was from either or both. It did not come from the Queen. I think the Queen knew that it was time, that things were not going to get better. And with her blessing, let's take another look at it in a year's time. Well, a year came and went. And during that year, there was continued leaking and briefing from Kensington Palace and from Clarence House. And so at that point, Harry said, we ain't coming back. Case closed. End of story. Boris Johnson was the last person they were supposed to send to convince Harry to stay after the basis or his bias piece Boris' sister wrote about Meghan. Absolutely. Emmy, was it Nefu? Thank you so much for that. But yeah, Boris Johnson's sister, who's supposed to be a feminist, she's actually one of those gatekeepers. Women's rights are good for everybody, but women of color. That's what I get from his sister. And unfortunately, you know, one of the things you have to know is that in the gay community, there's a lot of racism. You would think, oh, the gay community? Racism? Yeah, sometimes worse. And when it comes to white feminists, there is a lot of racism. Even, well, what was her name? The one that told Ida B. Wells that, oh, thank you so much for helping us get equal rights for women. And then when they had a parade to march about women's rights, she was told, that is, Ida B. Wells was told, by gosh, what was her name? I can't think of her name. What was it? Susan B. Anthony? I think it was Susan B. Anthony. Told her, "Oh yeah, you can't march up front with us white women. You have to march back there." And Ida B. Wells, she didn't even argue. She said, "Oh, okay." And when the parade started, where do you think she ended up? She was right up front with the rest of them. But that's what I mean by gatekeeper. They want your muscle. They want your input. They want you to speak up for the rights of all. But when it comes down to it, his sister is a gatekeeper. His sister used some rather dodgy language to describe Meghan that still rings in my ear today. So you can be someone that's fighting for the civil rights of one and not the other. That's just how life is. It's very confusing, but that's how life is. But thank you so much, Emmy, for the super chat. Leg says Susan B. Anthony wasn't initially racist. Unfortunately, after the 14th Amendment, they targeted the Black community instead of the men who made the laws. Lucy Stone didn't agree with her. Thank you so much for that, Legs. Yep, thank you very much. No, look who decided to show some knees today, to show their legs. Charles went to the Scottish Parliament, right? Celebrating 25 years of their somewhat independence, right? They don't have a prime minister. They have a first minister. They still have to answer a lot to, what do you call it? To, well, what do they call it? The Parliament in London, that place. They still have to answer to them a lot, but still, they have some independence. They do enact some laws. Like here in the United States, we have the federal laws, we have the state laws, but Westminster, that's what I'm thinking, Westminster. They still have to answer to the Palace of Westminster. All right, so outside, thank you, Dr. Dredd. Outside, you can see that there are a few familiar faces. And if you don't know the faces, I'm sure you know the placards. Not my king. Oh, they were waiting for him. They were waiting for him. Oh, it just takes your breath away, doesn't it? It just takes your breath away. What a completely ghastly human being, if it is human. Queen Camilla's son says she was pinned down in her bed by a ghost. Is that what they're calling it now? A ghost? Tom Parker Bowles says his mother, Queen Camilla, the queen consort or the queen cohort, was once pinned down in her bed by a ghost, but reckons she would have told the apparition where to go. Could it be that some dreaded evil spirit thought that another evil spirit had ventured into their territory, their turf? I mean, let's face it, on the best of occasions, Camilla is more than capable of giving someone a bit of a fright, okay? And the idea of somebody holding her down, to hold her down, you'd have to get close to her, wouldn't you? How would that work out? And to demonstrate what I mean about her being capable of giving someone a bit of a fright, I got to warn you, this is going to be loud. like I said, when it comes to giving someone a bit of a fright, now I think one of the squatties made the newspaper cover on the right side. I don't suspect that's a real newspaper cover, but it has definitely been making the rounds, and I think it is absolutely hilarious. It says, son reveals terrifying attack at Tudor mansion. Queen pinned to bed by ghost, but Camilla scared Spectre, was it Spectre, off with a few choice words. Was it words or was it a look? Was it the words that scared away the apparition, or was it the look, the face? Let me see. The Queen Camilla was pinned to her bed in a haunting Tudor mansion by a miserable old ghost, but it disappeared after she gave it a good telling off. Or she gave it a good look. Good look, bad look. I guess it's in the eye of the beholder. Queen Camilla was once pinned down to her bed by a ghost, her son Tom Parker Bowles revealed, but the 49-year-old food writer said that she made a fairly strong stuff. She's made of fairly strong stuff and probably told the ghost where to go. He described Bowhide Manor. That sounds a lot like Boleyn, doesn't it? Bowhide. Is that Anne Boleyn's family manor? Near Chippenham, Wilts. The hell these names come from? Where he lived with his mom and her then husband Andrew Parker Bowles as very haunted. Tom told the Rosebud with, what's his name? Giles Brand. Is that the guy that wear those funny sweaters? It was a Tudor manor. Well, that's good because his mama's been around since Tudor times. She fit right in. There would be banquets downstairs. People would hear. There was nothing there. People would jump in their car in the middle of the night because something had got into their bed. Come on, man. Listen. We all know that Camilla likes a little cocktail every now and again. And in some cases, I would say probably more than most. If anything, the only thing that was holding her down was some Jack Daniels or some port after dinner. But the idea that a ghost pinned her down, really? Lex says, Casper said, that's scary. Wait, was it Mirror? You beat me to it, Legs. You beat me to it. Thanks for the super chat. But listen, right now, there's someone watching Royal Sussex that has a big screen television. And every so often, they'll glance up and they'll notice that I'm talking about Camilla. And this is what they see. Now, that's scary, but I don't think I buy that other stuff. I mean, could you imagine that in 4K? 4K, 65 inches, 70 inches, 4K. Could you imagine it? Now, that's a little bit too close for comfort. And then, of course, I suppose if something's pinning you to the bed, then you probably had enough to drink where a pheasant or a turkey begins to look like a Charles. Don't they all start seeing things after a while? And plus, we all know that the food critic, I mean, can we go there? We all know that the food critic used to provide enough baking soda for everyone in the house, everyone at the nightclub, everyone over at High Grove, right? Everyone in the south of France. He was known for his ability to keep people amused with his baking soda. We'll call it baking soda. So maybe somebody put some baking soda in the punch, and you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to find reasons why they believe there was some aberration in the house. And even worse, what kind of aberration would be so hard up and so desperate that they would pin that to the bed. You know what I'm saying? There's other people in the house, I'm sure. But this is the one you choose to pin to the bed? Sure. Sure. Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go. And that is the obvious explanation. I don't believe that there was anyone there. There was either a strong drink, a late night, a bit of confusion, possibly somebody put some baking soda in the punch bowl, but there's got to be a logical explanation. I mean, because, after a day's grifting, this is pretty much what Camilla does is she goes home and pours herself a nice little drink, get out of that girdle or Spanx or whatever she's wearing, and go chill somewhere. And as for the theory about the mirror legs, I see what you mean. Like right here, see, over on the left side, that's what we see. But on the right side, that's what Camilla sees. Sometimes when she's a little tired, when she's had a little bit too much to drink, she glances at the occasional mirror and there is a silky chicken looking back at her. And it causes her to panic. So if she's seeing silky chickens, the chances are she thought somebody pinned her to the bed. I could see that. And of course, maybe it's the ghost of what's her name? Edith Keppel. Maybe it's the ghost of her great-great-grandmother. Maybe her great-grandmother is haunting her because she's upset that she's being out. Well, I don't want to say what I think she is, but maybe she's being outdone. Yeah, I'll say outdone by her great-great-great-granddaughter, right? I mean, Edith Keppel, she didn't, what is it, Keppel? She didn't get a chance to marry the sovereign. Yeah. But then, or who knows, maybe when Camilla looks in the mirror, maybe that's what she sees. Something that looks kind of gangrene with yellow eyes and that ridiculous hair. The other theory I have, now listen, if it's not alcohol, if it's not baking soda, then maybe eating flowers, some flowers have toxins that can cause delusions, right? So maybe there's something in those flowers that she likes to eat. Because a really good host, whenever the queen consort comes around, you don't offer her cheese and crackers or some other type of hors d'oeuvre. You give her what she really wants, flowers. Oh, she can munch on those for hours. Yeah. She can munch on those for hours. Not even spoil her. Not even spoil her dinner. She won't even spoil her dinner. Or maybe it's Queen Elizabeth that is haunting her. Maybe Queen Elizabeth pinned her to her bed and said, listen, you big sloppy mess. Next time you go to a royal function wearing that awful 5 and dime F.W. Woolworth dress representing my kingdom, I'm going to come back for you. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was the ghost of Lizzie. Yeah, it was the ghost of Lizzie. Camilla, if you're going to represent the realm, you must do it properly. One mustn't be a big sloppy mess. I'm sure that's what it was. The queen pinned her down and accused her of being a slob. So anyway, recollections may vary. Those are my theories. It could have been baking soda. It could have been alcohol. It could have been the ghost of Granny. It could have been the ghost of great Granny. But whatever it is, I'm sure there's a lot of people, alive or dead, that would love to pin her down and give them a piece of their mind. So there you go. Now, I'm almost done. I found these on the interweb. Prince Harry, rebel without a crown. Some artists created a stencil and painted Prince Harry's image. You may have seen this before. I think it's probably been around for a while. But it's cute. A little bit condescending, but cute. And then the other one that you may have seen before, they created a stencil artwork of Prince Harry with spare and a handful of money. Well, now that Harry's an American, see, before that may have been insulting, but here in the US, we're not ashamed to make money. As a matter of fact, that's something we do rather well, is make money. So you cannot embarrass us and you cannot hurt our feelings by implying that we've worked hard and made some money. Yeah, that is not embarrassing. That is something that we respect in the United States. So, nope, not bothered by it. Not bothered by it. Harry's a homeowner, he's a father, and he is married to the Duchess of Sussex, who is a force to be reckoned with herself. And guess what? That costs money. If you want a certain lifestyle, you need some money. And if you want to get back at your family for leaking and briefing against you, you write a book, Spare by Prince Harry, the best-selling nonfiction in history. And with that, you all, I am done. Thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Well, I tried to contain it to an hour, but that didn't work out. It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much to the moderators for keeping this a safe space. I mean, if you guys look at the chat, well, not the chat, but the you know, the, what do you call it? If you look at the comments, not the chats, you'll notice that there's not a whole lot of trolls there. And the reason why is because we get rid of them so fast. So we don't get a lot of trolls. And that's because of the hard work of the moderators. So thank you as always. And thank you for everyone who has a membership to Royal Sussex. It goes a long way to make this work possible, which reminds me, thank you for trusting me to do this work. Remember, avoid these channels and articles and podcasts. Avoid those ones that are going to cause you stress. There's always some good context there, but before you can find something that has redeeming social value, unfortunately, you're all stressed out, your blood pressure's gone up, you can't sleep, you're worrying about the Sussexes. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. You're not going to learn anything new. You're really not. It's not, what you will learn is not worth you stressing yourself out. Okay? If it's going to make you feel nervous and reactive, then you probably shouldn't watch it. And fortunately, there are quite a few people in the community that can screen these things for your sake. And sometimes I can't tolerate them But as I shared with you earlier, there's a squatty who, actually several squatties that have done amazing work in identifying things that we can learn from and that we could actually share and that could be helpful. So there you go. But remember, protect your mental health. All right. Anything else? Cookies and Cream says, everyone, please continue to pray for these Sussexes, each other, and the world. Pray for all those who are sick, bereaved, or just in need of prayer. Oh, you know what? Why didn't I do this? There we go. Yes, please hit that like button. And if you're not a subscriber, please make sure you subscribe. Do you know that we're at another milestone, almost 61,000 subscribers, almost 61K. We'll be there probably by this time tomorrow. Let me see where we're at with the subscribers. Yes, 60,956. I'll take it. I like that. That's good. And to date, Royal Sussex has had almost 40 million views, 8.8 million watch hours. Now that's incredible. Almost 40 million views. Who would have thought? Okay. Our recollections may vary. You know, I just noticed that name. Our recollections may vary. Oh, you'll stir the pot. Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. Greatly appreciate it. Okay. All right. So I'm done. I'm going to say goodnight. Thank you all very much. Love you guys. I will see you all tomorrow. So have a very good night or a very productive day if you have just started your day. And I think by Monday, we should see some images of Harry at the Well Child. Okay. And then next month, we're going to see Harry. We're not sure if the Duchess is going, but we'll see Harry in Africa again. So there you go. Wow, Saturday Night Live is 50 years old. SNL turns 50. Did you guys know that? 50 years of SNL. Wow. Boy, do I feel old. I remember when John Belushi was on there. How old am I? Thank you for stopping by, Dr. Dredd. Greatly appreciate it. Pip pip cheerio. All the best. Cheers. Good night, Connie Balmer. Thank you so much for that. You as well. Yes, I hope there's 80K or 100K by Christmas. I hope so. You know, it's a very niche topic, and the hate channels, they're the ones that used to grow so fast, but you may notice that the hate channels, they're starting to hate each other, and they're not doing as much as they used to, because I tell you, there's the way that people have jumped onto that hate train just for the sake of profits is very disappointing, very sad. But you know, it happens. They don't know the Sussexes. They don't care to know them. They don't have any basis to their hatred, but they're just there to perpetuate the lies and such. And it's really sad, but that's okay, because there's a group of individuals known as the Sausage Squad, according to Dan Wooten. And the Sausage Squad always saves receipts. That's what we do. We save our receipts. Good night, legs. Okay, I'm going to go. See y'all.